All right, so I just got done setting this up. 7 kilowatt hours of lithium iron phosphate. All the batteries communicate to each other. They all communicate to this battery computer. And inside here we've got a couple different voltage converters. There's 100 volts going around. Don't ask me why, but there's also a 12 volt converter. This takes the 48 volt battery bank, takes it down to 12 volts, and that's what powers the relay. And through the 100 volt converter ultimately powers the computer as well. We've got a pre-charge circuit in here as well. I'll show you the switches. So I'm going to push this up and then put the cover down. All right, so here we've got the power to the computer. We've got this switch which enables the batteries. It doesn't turn them on. It just allows it to be possible for them to turn on. Here we got 2 green lights. When they're both on, it means the batteries are balanced and full. The red light means there's a problem: over voltage, under voltage, temperature, amperage, or lack of communication. The white light means the batteries are on. So we'll pre-charge a circuit by holding this down. That connects the pre-charge resistor across the relay. Once that white light comes on, we can shut it. We can, release the button. When this light glows bright, it's at 100%. When it's off, it's below 50. And anywhere between, dim and bright is varying between 50% state of charge and 100%. All right, here's a wireless display. It's just your basic Chinese wireless display. Shows how many amps the inverter's taking. So this is just, it's only plugged into wire just for power. So I have it plugged into a USB 5 volt, source. Here, let me switch cameras here. There. So if you go right now it's taking 1.6 amps. That's 85 watts, and there's nothing plugged in. So this inverter standby consumption is 85 watts. And there's 4 fans up in there that are going. The range on this display is only like 20 or 30 feet. It has cheap clone wireless boards inside that you could replace, I suppose, with the name brand ones, and then you'd probably get some better reception. This is 2-gauge wire, and it is very, very flexible. It's really, really fine strand. There's clear shrink wrap over that, the waterproof stuff. I don't think that switch is waterproof. I was able to blow air through it, but it's pretty much bug proof. I mean, there's no ant that could fit through there. And there's a foam seal all in here. This is squeezed in so tight that not even air leaks through that. On the underside, there's the watertight connection and hot glue inside to make sure that there was no gaps for bugs to follow. And that, of course, is tight. I tried plastic welding this on, and it was fun, but it just was kind of too slow. Because I can't get the nut on the back because it was too thick. So this one I had to drill out some of the thickness to get the nut on the back. The switches have the waterproof rubber boots on them, Batteries have these flashing indicator lights on them that tell you they're happy. Blinking every 5 seconds means they're communicating to the computer. Blinking every 20 seconds means they are in standby mode, or off, I guess, storage mode. Hey, don't ask me anything about that yet. I don't know anything about it. Okay, sorry about that blip. Now, what I've done is I've hooked my laptop through the USB through this this COM port adapter, and the white cord goes all the way up to here, and it goes through this into the bottom right here. So now my laptop is actually communicating to the computer that's in here, and this is what it has to say. We've got 4 batteries. Let me turn off my headlamp. Can I turn off the flash while I'm recording? Yes, I can. Fancy schmancy. All right, so is that focusing clearly? There, okay, so pack current, -1 amp. There's 0 modules balancing, and there's 0 cells balancing, obviously, right? State of charge, 99%. You can see the 4 batteries here, and that's their cell voltages. The battery number 1 has pretty tight voltages, and they all do. But here's the minimum cell voltage and the maximum cell voltage. And this here shows that the contactors are closed, which means that the relay's on. And yeah, I'm pretty stoked about this. There's also a charting part of this that I never really can get to work, but let's try it. So I'm going to close the port and close this, and open charts, and go to the directory, and it's in the log, and then I have to find last of 2021. That's here. Okay, and then say pack current. Let's draw a chart and see if that works. Nope, doesn't work. Yeah, I've never figured out why. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, but you're supposed to be able to draw the chart for all of that stuff. And so I actually have a friend that hooked up the information that was coming out of here to a database, and then we're accessing that with Graphena, and I'll show you that later. But that's a pretty cool setup, and you can see it remotely too. So overall, I don't know, I looked inside of this, and this thing has 2 separate inverters. They're like actually separate. They're connected together through some kind of communication wires inside. And here they got, 240 across these 2. Or you can actually bridge these together and go into the menu and change it so that both the inverters parallel to each other and put out 5,000 watts at 120 instead of, the 240, which would be around 2,500 watts on each leg. And since we don't have any 240 appliances here, I am going to bridge that tomorrow. I was also thinking, what if I could turn off one inverter and leave the other one on? And that way we could do a 40 watts idle consumption instead of 80. It has 2 MPPT charge controllers here. So I could hook, 2,000 watts to the one that was, or to remain on all the time. And the other one would just stay off, unless we knew we were going to start the well pump or something. We could come out here and turn it on just to get it going, and then shut it off. I don't know. Maybe it would have been better just to buy a couple of their 3,000 watt models and parallel them together, and then be able to, just flip the switch off. It would be a lot simpler. But even with their 3,000 watt models, you can parallel them to make 240, or you can combine their 110s or combine their 120s to double the amount of amperage on one leg. One thing that was interesting is it sucks air in the top and blows it out the bottom. So natural convection, it seems like it should go the other direction. I thought maybe they wired the fans backwards, but they have a filter up here, so it's definitely going the way that they designed it to. It's getting late, so I'm not going to mess with it, but it came with a disc, some kind of software. Came with this connector. 1, 2, 3. Yeah. I don't know what to do with that. Plug it into my computer, I suppose. Or the USB, I'm not sure. Came with this too. Look at how long that thing is. Am I supposed to plug this in? It says parallel communication. I don't know, I have to read the manual about that. There's some dip switches right here. Maybe I'm supposed to hook these two there in order to parallel these two inverters to each other. But right now, maybe they're just acting completely separate, which is fine because I don't have anything but their neutrals bonded together anyway. So I just measured each leg's putting out 120 volts exactly. I'd like to turn that up to 125 or something. And if I measure between line 1 and line 2, I get 0 volts. So they're apparently right now in sync to some degree at least. I thought that it was set up for 240 out of the box. So I'm going to check the wireless range on this thing. So, yes, those are frogs. Okay, we are 10 feet away. It's lost. It's right on the other side of that wall, right there. I knew. Yeah, look at that. Oh. Closer. It's like when the reception bar shows up, it doesn't actually show you the signal strength. It just says, yes, I have a connection. That's pretty ridiculous. Can I get this to focus somehow? That's better. Man, that's ridiculous. Yeah, it's got really short reception. It can't go through anything. You can get the same wireless card for the Raspberries that is actually name brand. I'm sure that'll have better reception, but that would require disassembling this and, you know, putting the other one in there. So probably not going to do it. I'll just stick this up on the wall over there by the door. And in case you were wondering, this can be powered by either 12 volts here, which is a pretty wide voltage range. It goes to like from 10 to 18 or something like that. But or you can do the USB to power it here, or you can connect this USB cord to the transmitter, and it won't use wireless at all. Honestly, if you just got a long cord, you could get a further distance than this wireless. It's pretty ridiculous. And the manual says that the transmitter has to have 12 volts, and it doesn't. I hooked it up like the earlier models, where it's just connected to the 48, and it works. It doesn't need the 12 volts, so their manual should be updated. The only thing that bothers me about this, there's an option on a different cheap Chinese deal like this that's not wireless, and what I like about it is you can set this one so that whenever the battery voltage gets up to a certain amount, the state of charge automatically jumps to 100. And that is really beneficial to keep this accurate. This one, according to the manual, doesn't do it, and I did adjust the voltage. I did adjust it from 0 up to like 53, and the state of charge meter did not jump to 100 at that time. I had to manually force it up there, so it doesn't seem to do it. And only time will tell how accurate this thing really is. You can't really trust the green light here. This is supposed to indicate the state of charge, but if you go look in here, I'm actually gonna look in there now. So now I'm gonna open the port first, yeah. So state of charge is 100%, and that is actually true right now. But the problem is that the amp meters that are inside these batteries are not very accurate, unfortunately. For a $2,000 battery, $2,000 each, you think they would be accurate, but I guess, you know, being old, they're a decade old already, maybe that's why they're not accurate. But look at this, they're all in series. They should all have the exact same amperage, right? So battery number 1 is got 1.6 amp draw coming out of it. Battery number 2, that's the same. Okay, they're agreeing with each other. Battery number 3, what the heck? Now I don't know what to believe. But then number 4, oh yeah, that one's only discharging at 0.3 amps. Bull crap. So in other words, since the state of charge meters, since this state of charge meter is what's controlling that light, and that is from the computer in here, it's getting that information from the battery. The computer in the battery actually reports the state of charge to this computer, which is reporting it to my computer. So since the amp meter is wrong, these batteries sometimes will pretend to charge or pretend to discharge, depending on whether or not this is pretending to, you know, drain or fill. So you can't trust that light, and that's why I'm trying this. But if this gets all out of calibration over the, you know, months, then that's going to be a bunk deal too. So I might have to switch back to the other one that's not wireless. But the problem with that one is instead of having a real shunt on the negative wire, it has a, you know, inductive pickup that wraps around it, and is not that accurate. And so it's kind of problematic. So, you know, it does work, especially since it calibrates itself every time it reaches full. And that's good with, you know, a small system like this, because you can fill it up. But the system at my home, 65 kilowatt hours, you know, and it takes me months to drain that, and then it takes me months to fill it. So I can't deal with that, because, you know, I want to know the actual state of charge. So at home, I've just been going based off the voltage, which has actually been pretty accurate, considering, you know, it's such a huge battery bank. The draw or the charge doesn't really affect the voltage much. So the state of charge is a better reflection of voltage on my system, because the battery bank is so big. And I probably just confused all hell out of you guys, because I'm tired. And I'm mixing this little system with my system at home now, and so I might just edit out the last 5 minutes of this video.